The Suwannee River rises in the vast and mysterious Okefenokee Swamp of South Georgia and winds quietly along a beautifully wooded 250-mile course through North and West Florida, then disappears into the Gulf of Mexico. Another Suwannee, the legendary river immortalized by Stephen Foster's music, flows 100 times as far into the hearts and souls of men and embraces the old folks at home and the young folks, too, around the globe.
That's where the old folks stay.
On the banks of this historic and legendary river at White Springs, the people of Florida have established the Stephen Foster Memorial as a tribute to one of America's best-loved composers. Each year, hundreds of thousands of visitors from all the 48 states and many foreign lands pass through the gates of this 240-acre sanctuary where the old South of Stephen Foster's music lives on. In the heart of this wooded park stands the stately Foster Museum, the centerpiece of the expanding memorial and filled with many treasures of his time. Nearby, on an open-air stage in this appropriate setting, flanked by pines, magnolias, and live oaks hung with Spanish moss, the Florida Folk Festival is held annually. Floridians, as well as visitors from many other states, gather to share the cultural heritage their ancestors have given to Florida. Here, during National Music Week, these thousands of spectators enjoy this colorful panorama of Florida's folkways and customs. This festival, produced by the Florida Folk Festival Association and sponsored jointly by the Stephen Foster Memorial Commission and the Florida Federation of Music Clubs, is helping to keep alive the folk traditions which are in reality the unwritten and unsigned biography of Florida's people and which link the present with the far distant past. The people of Florida have come from everywhere. The population is made up of Indians, immigrants from other states, Negroes, and a large representation of old world settlers, Czechoslovakians, Italians, Spaniards, Slovaks, Greeks, Poles, Latin Americans, Hungarians, Irish, Scotch, and English. Many thousands of these have become native Floridians and have given to the state their dances, their legends and folk tales, and their folk arts and crafts. The Florida Festival presents this diversity of cultural history and thereby perpetuates the spirit of Florida when the land was young. Each festival program opens with an old-fashioned town crier announcing the occasion in much the same manner as the old town meetings were heralded in early America. The first participants on each program are the Seminole Indians, who were early Florida inhabitants. On the banks of this same river, Osceola and his forebears once lived and did the green corn dance and the buffalo dance, which his descendants still remember. This turtle shell rattle is a favorite musical instrument among the Seminoles today. This husky brave with a fine headdress is a Creek Indian who came to visit his distant relatives, the Seminoles, at the festival. Schoolboys and girls revive and perpetuate old folk dances, which they will pass on for another generation to enjoy. Here, these young people are having fun in a kind of long ways dance popular in sections of northern Florida. Local legends, folk tales, and old settlers' yarns abound in Florida. Here is a fine teller of tales, dressed in her grandmother's old gown, keeping an audience at rapt attention while she tells fascinating versions of Jack and the Beanstalk and a story of the creation. And the Negro singing games, still played during recess on Florida school grounds, are remnants of pastimes, some of which are centuries old. Ever been to a quilting bee? Here is one. These communal get-togethers, like the peanut shellings, corn huskings, log rollings, are still popular in certain rural sections of the state. This homey folk craft, with its friendly neighborliness, need not disappear in a changing world. Singers of ballads and folk songs have delighted listeners down through the ages. From the earliest times to the present day, minstrels and bards have sung of adventure, love, and heroic deeds. Here a folk singer accompanies herself on a guitar and sings an old English ballad which many Floridians still remember. On a folk festival program, one may expect an endless variety of performers. Here, a Filipino visitor to America gives a Mohammedan dance at the festival. For centuries, Florida was a part of Spanish America, which has contributed much to the cosmopolitan culture of this state. These natives from Latin America are demonstrating a Peruvian Inca dance with joyful abandon. Almost any object in the hands of a real musician can bring forth music of one kind or another. When you get right down to it, what's finer than a tune on a musical saw? Israeli folk dancers are spotlighted by the Florida sun. Give children enough rope and they usually will end up skipping it. Rope skipping rhymes are popular with children the world over. Oftentimes, such rope skipping rhymes can reveal to the skipper the initials of her sweetheart, her future mate, the size of her prospective family, and all kinds of secrets that Dame Fortune may hold in store for her. The white spirituals of early America are still sung all over northern and western Florida by the old sacred harp singers in singing conventions, in churches, and in all-day sings. Traditional Hebrew songs present aspects of that ancient faith through thousands of years down to modern times. Everybody loves to dance for fun and recreation. Here, two lasses dance a traditional Irish jig. Mormon songs carried by many voices, the ladies in their bonnets and aprons, are reminiscent of the historic trek to Utah by Brigham Young and his followers, many of whom have immigrated to Florida. The Negro spirituals, which are perhaps the greatest contributions made to American folk music, are forever an important part of Florida folklore.
I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord. I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord. Are you ready, my brother? Oh, yeah. Are you ready for the journey? Oh, yeah. We want to see you, Jesus. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for the Jericho and ready to go. I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna ride and tear in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the judgment day. My Lord, my Lord.
These happy Czechoslovakian young people from Masaryk Florida, are dancing an old traditional Czech dance known as the beseda in their handmade costumes. Walt Whitman's observation that America is a nation of nations takes on full meaning for the thousands who annually see the Florida Folk Festival. The folk legacies bequeathed by natives of the state as well as by peoples of many lands have given Florida a distinctive personality. These songs, legends, tall tales, and dances are not without significance. They may be the base material which composers and musicians can transmute into something finer, just as this beautiful orchid has been bred from what 50 years ago may have been a very ordinary variety. This particular orchid has been named the Suwannee River, honoring the memory of Stephen Foster and his music. Thus, we see some of the activity that takes place at the Florida Festival held on the banks of the Suwannee River. Though this river, the Stephen Foster Memorial, and the Folk Festival are in Florida, in a larger sense, what they embody belongs to the nation. The Suwannee River stands as a symbol of constancy in the midst of change. The Florida Folk Festival, too, symbolizes a changeless yet changing democratic America, revealed in the customs and traditions that men will not willingly let die.